Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week, we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. Well, my goodness, hello and welcome to the April 16, 2019 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. It is a stunningly beautiful day here in Orlando. It is 71 gorgeous degrees. I've already been outside. I am very excited to have lovely spring weather. Everyone else is saying, I can't believe it's snowing in April. I'm like, excuse me. 18 years in Colorado and many more in other states, it snows in spring, people. I'm so sorry. That's pretty harsh, but it's the truth. Spring is when the snow comes, and it continues until probably June if you're in Colorado. But anyway, I know I don't mean to brag too much about the weather in Florida because goodness knows I will have my days of suffering this summer, but it is glorious now, and I think I've earned it over the last few summers of just absolute hothouse weather. So anyway, moving on to actual astrological weather. So we've got a lot going on, and hang on one second. I just had to cough. I'm apologizing to you here. So we've had a lot going on, and it was interesting because I was over at my friend Mercedes' house yesterday helping her in the garden, and I was there. Actually, she had to work. I was out there by myself, and I heard a bunch of fire engines go by, and normally you can hear one or two, but it was a lot, which made me kind of pay attention. You know, that's how spirit works, that you hear different things or see things, and if you pay attention to them, they are in a certain paradigm of awareness and can help you really key into spiritual energy and what's going on. And that's kind of what happened for me. I ended up thinking to myself, wow, there's something significant going on. Like, I don't know where it's at or what's going on with it, but it's there. And I knew it. I just knew that it was more than just your average emergency. But I didn't hear about what it was until last night about 5 o'clock Orlando time. So apparently Notre Dame had caught on fire in Paris. And all of the interior was made of wood, and it pretty much burned all the way down. I did see pictures after that event last night. I saw daylight pictures, and they have some pews still there, which is good. But there was so much wood that it just kind of went up. And I've been to Paris. I've been to Notre Dame, and so it was a significant event. And my heart definitely goes out to the Parisians and the French people and everyone around the world who really appreciates that the enormity of having a building around for 850 years. That's a significant timeline. But of course, because I'm an astrologer and I love researching, that's one of the things I do all the time. I'm always looking things up when I see news events. I looked up what was going on with that. I'm just trying to find the chart here, so I could understand, what events were going on at that moment. And I actually am writing an article on my Angelic Zodiac site. I just haven't gotten very far with it yet. But I will tell you, looking at the chart, I did post this to Facebook on the Angelic Zodiac page, the chart for the day. But what's going on is Mercury is at 28 Pisces. So Pisces is the elderly or the end of a cycle. So it is about older people, and it can be about older items. The Capricorn energy, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, are also about age and stability usually. But you have Jupiter, which is about transformation, transition, and transmutation, which means taking something, shifting the energy, and making it into something different. And so Jupiter just went retrograde this past week, and he is in square to the energy of Mercury, which also rules accidents. But Mercury is right near Venus, and Venus is in Pisces, and Venus represents feminine energy. So the combination of all these planetary aspects kind of point to an old lady transforming, which Notre Dame is Our Lady of Paris. Notre Dame de Paris means Our Lady of Paris. So she is an old lady, and that energy is expressed out. It was yesterday in that means, and it was very significant. I don't know why, but it's such an odd thing for me to think of happening. They initially blamed, I have to back up. My daughter, she initially said, because I asked her if she had heard about it, and she said yes, and they think it could be something associated with the protests or whatever. And I'm like, And then I heard on the internet news that it could have to do with the scaffolding. But anymore, I'm highly suspicious of everything. I just honestly go to the conspiracy probably out of the gate anymore, just because I've seen so many unusual things like the Paradise Fire in California, and even down to celebrities passing away unexpectedly. Things like this just seem suspicious to me. So I think this is probably one of those things that is also potentially suspicious. And there is something, and this is my one little conspiracy theory, non-astrological, that I will throw out there, and then I will get back to the astrology, that there are energy weapons, and I don't know if you've heard about that, where they can actually take lasers from satellites or space and focus the beam on Earth, and they could create fires. So it's a flash of energy that comes, and so that was one of the conspiracy theories for the Paradise Fire. But anyway, I heard that one through a lady online who is a medium and a psychic. But anyway, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, it wouldn't, because it's just such an anomaly. This thing has been around 850 years. The spire alone has been around since the early 1900s. So, how does that just start, I mean, I know things are susceptible, but it just seems odd, especially at this time. I mean, we have the energy of Uranus and Taurus, the unexpected. Anyway, so getting back to astrology, we have a lot of different stories going on right now, obviously, and it is a very strong week of new stories happening. I think a week ago in the podcast last week, I was mentioning how Mercury is going into Aries and Venus follows not long after. And both of them will be hitting Vesta and Chiron, which, again, Vesta is kind of keeper of the goods, keeper of the materials, the paper, but also expresses out as a woman who can be difficult to deal with. And then you have also, first off, the energy of Chiron at 3 degrees Aries, and Chiron is the wounded healer in Aries. So there is some type of wounding around, potential wounding, let's put it that way, around aggression, around masculine energy, around drive and self-promotion, all the things that Aries represents. And then having Mercury join with Chiron, Mercury accidents, Chiron, a wounding. So, and in Aries, which is aggression. So there is a very strong potential this week for some type of wounding, which honestly, Notre Dame is probably a really good example of one of those. And moving into the new Aries energy and out of the watery energy, it's much more aggressive as opposed to, so it's fire energy as opposed to water. Water means that our hearts are broken. Fire means that we're wounded in a physical sense or aggressively, violently, and it is a physical act, which the fire signs represent action of energy, I guess is how I should put it. So Earth energy is like if there were an act going on in Earth energy, it could be more like breakdown of a physical structure as we saw, which is the Saturn-Pluto energy. But yeah, definitely in fire, it's more, it's like fireballs and flames, and that obviously is some of what we've seen. And we still have Sun in Aries at 25 degrees. So Sun is squaring Pluto today and was yesterday and the day before when Sun was at 23 degrees. Pluto is at 23 Capricorn. So the Sun is 90 degrees away in the sky from that degree. And so he is battling out for control, so to speak, and for personal power. And that is even more accented by the fact that the Sun is only 7 degrees away from Uranus. So the Sun and Uranus in the sky, that's, I think, why we have such a wonderful clear sky today. It is clarity. Uranus represents clarity. And I do believe with the Notre Dame fire, when the Sun gets into Taurus, we will see some information coming out about that. I do believe also, let me see what day, Sunday. I believe Saturday. Sun goes into Taurus on Saturday, so that will light up that energy of awareness and cognizance that Uranus represents. And that is also only 2 days after the Mueller report, redacted, comes out for Congress. And I guess the American public get to see the one with all the lines through it that basically keep all the juicy stuff out. But I think that it will ultimately come out. I think that we are absolutely entering a cycle of awareness and understanding, and things are coming to the surface right now. So this week we have Mercury entering Aries at 11:01 tonight, and that's Pacific, and then at 2:01 a.m. Eastern. So, immediately, so for the next couple days, Mercury will be right up there on Chiron and Vesta. So I would say until probably the weekend, we are going to have more aggressive energy because there is a square to Jupiter. And then Friday we have a full moon. It is Good Friday this Friday, believe it or not. We're already up to that. It goes so quickly. Full moon at 29 Libra. Again, the ending degree of something, very last degree of the sign before it moves into Scorpio. So there'll probably be a little bit of Scorpio following up that full moon, that energy of moon in Scorpio. Because it is so full, it's only, minutes away from going into Scorpio. It enters it. So let's back up. 29 degrees, it is at 7:12 a.m. We have the exact opposition of the moon to the sun, which is what makes it full. And then 8:41, 1 hour and a half later, 8:41 Eastern and 5:41 Pacific, moon enters Scorpio. So it's literally 1 hour after the full moon. And that is also intense energy and in opposition to Uranus. This week is absolutely the news week for information coming out, events happening, shocking news, unexpected things, things in the material world of a chemical nature. Uranus and Taurus is chemistry, chemicals potentially associated with food, also the stock market. Anything that represents Taurus, so it's growing from the earth, value, retail. We may find that there's something going on with a retailer that is shifting and transforming that may not make it. We've also got personal power energy. So the sun is ego. Uranus is where we get our own power from and how are we autonomous? So can we call our own shots or not, which is why Uranus is such a strong energy of entrepreneurship. So, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on there. And so I guess I'm just saying expect the unexpected, expect shocking, and expect to find out information that had previously not been told to us, especially because Mercury is communicator and he brings messages. He's going from the hidden, the 12th house energy of Pisces, out into the open. It's as if he's being born as far as information. So he's going to be bringing something that is more aggressive and it's coming out of the shadows, followed by Venus. And Venus comes out into the daylight on, I'm just looking it up. I thought I said it, but here it is, 12:11 p.m. Saturday, which is only 7 hours after the sun goes into Taurus. Venus goes into Aries, and 12:11 a.m. Eastern, 9:11 a.m. Pacific. So we're going to see a lot of stuff, and it's interesting because it's also Passover and Easter weekend. I double check that. I think Passover. I could be wrong. Maybe that was recently, but definitely, oh my goodness, and we even have Earth Day coming up next week as well, and a Pluto retrograde next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. So it's a very, very busy time of the year, and anyway, so it's bringing energy down from the fiery drive of Aries into the physical, tangible Earth, but we have a very strong energy of air with Uranus at the beginning degrees of Taurus. So any planet going into Taurus now is going to immediately talk to Uranus, and it's kind of like Uranus will be cleansing the energy as they move through, and that is until Uranus retrogrades, which isn't for a while yet, actually. If I'm not mistaken, Uranus doesn't retrograde until, a little bit soon, no, August. There it is. So he's actually direct all the way through August, which is basically the duration of Jupiter's retrograde. So let's see, Mars is at, and Mars actually rules stuttering. Thank you. Mercury, Mercury, which is what Mars is answering to right now. Mars in Gemini. Gemini rules stuttering. Anyway, Mars in Gemini, and so it is repetition, doing something more than once. He is at 10 degrees Gemini, and Jupiter's retrograde at 24 Sagittarius, so they will be opposing each other in the near future. Probably in about 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see a direct opposition between those two, and I'll talk about it then. Today, the moon is in Virgo, and moon in Virgo is kind of a clamping down on the emotionalism. I mean, Virgo is very self-aware, and all the Virgo in my chart, I've got Mercury 1 degree off of the moon right now, and so in my natal chart. And I can tell you Virgo is very self-aware, and I recognize that my discussion of Notre Dame can be a little bit crisp, considering how sentimental everybody is around that particular structure. But for some reason, there's definitely an acceptance for me around transition of old storylines. And that, in some sense, is what Notre Dame represents to me, even though it is an amazing structure of housing art and artifacts. I know some of those went to the Louvre, from what I read, and they're being housed there for the time being. But yeah, the Virgo energy and Mercury energy can be very detached on some level, and Uranus is like that same energy magnified. So you can kind of understand that it's a very analytical energy today. The moon representing home, mother, nurturing. It's going to nurture through analysis. And just a little personal note, my daughter took a specific test today, which is actually more like an event. She had to do a little circle time for preschoolers, and she was basically observed over doing that, and then she gets a certification from that to teach in preschool and elementary school. And so, in trying to encourage her, I found myself definitely kicking over to that very analytical side. You've done this before, you know what you're doing, da 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 da, and not that kind of like, oh no, you're nervous, oh that's horrible. So today's going to be a real strong day, and the next couple days, because the moon just went in this morning to Virgo. So it's going to be a couple days of analysis and getting to the heart of the matter and getting to the details. So I guess as far as Notre Dame is concerned, definitely you're going to have a team of people really going over what happened with a fine-tooth comb, and they're going to be a really great team of analyzers and detail-minded researchers. I also think that France is somewhat of a Virgo-type country, but it just always struck me as kind of Virgo in energy, and especially with the snobbery on some level. I don't know why, but that kind of arrogance. Remember, Virgo has Leo in the 12th house. So anyway, a little lightheartedness here before we take calls. Anyway, let's just move over. I'm going to get rid of some of my charts. I've got all my Notre Dame charts up here, and I'm going to close those out, and then I'm going to call open my files for the show, and we'll take a call. So 202, hi 202, how are you?
Hey there, how's it going?
Are you there? Hi, who am I talking to?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Is it Kay?
How are you?
Hi Kay, what can I do for you today?
Hello. I actually wanted you to look at a chart of someone that I met recently. I'm actually down south for a bit. And it's a gentleman that I met, a very different kind of dude. I just want you to look at it and tell me what you see and about the interactions within the chart.
Okay. I'll give you what I can. I've got another call too, and I have a shorter show now, so I'll give you as much as I can in the time I have for a couple minutes. Okay.
Oh, you do?
So what's
How
his
long
birth
is your show?
Yeah, my show had to be curtailed because Blog Talk's being kind of annoying right now, and I probably am not going to go back to the full-time 1 hour, but I may find an alternate way of doing the show. Today I was thinking maybe
just a
doing
half hour?
a Google Hangout. It is today, and it was last week, and it is for the foreseeable future. And again, planets are in the end of Pisces. Something's changing. So, I'm just trying to figure out how I can do a bigger show in a different modality, like Google Hangouts for an hour, and then I could actually have people, or Zoom, where people could see what I'm looking at, and then I could expand it a little bit, and it would be slightly different media, but it would actually probably be more enhanced.
I've used Zoom
as
before.
a show.
It's cool.
Yeah, I get a lot of positive feedback about it. So, what's his birthday?
Cool. It is August 30th.
Okay.
1989.
What year? Okay.
89. Around 7:30 a.m. in New Orleans.
Okay. So, just to focus the energy, are you looking at this person for a partner romantically or business, or what?
There is an attraction. There's an attraction,
yeah. For both sides? Do you feel he is attracted as well?
I can't tell at all. He's so goofy.
Okay, well, he has Sun in Virgo at 7, and you have Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn in Virgo, but his Mars in Virgo at 17 degrees falls on your Mars in Virgo. So, in the same range. So his Sun is right on your Mars, and his Mars actually is, I can't read the degrees. They're all bunched up on each other. Hang on a second. Okay, so his Sun is on your Jupiter. So that's interesting. And then, so that's expansion, and he inclines you to travel, and he represents acting out on the things you want to act out on. So whatever your drive is, you're both workaholics, I would say, because Mars is a worker in Virgo, and his Sun in Virgo. I would say, because I know this energy, I was actually married to this energy.
Is it yours?
Sun and
Mars.
You're
married to it.
Yes, no, my ex has Sun in Virgo and Mars in Virgo. So he is a worker, and that is kind of his love language. Like, you've got to acknowledge that he knows what he's doing in work, that work is very important in his life and as an identity for him. He's got Mercury in Libra and Venus in Libra, so he does do better in partnerships. You have Pluto Moon conjunct in Libra, so there is a major energy. You actually can make a huge change in his life, and he sees you as a nurturing, motherly type on some level, but you will also teach him the value of women and how to connect to his feminine side. He is Pluto in Scorpio, so he is going to feel really intense in connection. Let's see, for you, he feels passionate about the friendship, and I think that, I mean, I'm not saying that it would only be a friendship, but
it's possible.
His
Pluto, I could see that.
His Pluto in Scorpio is in the house of friendship for you, so that means the depth of commitment is around being friends and being in the same soul group. His Venus is connected to yours more in your career house, and partnership in career would be really good. And then his Mercury also is right at your midheaven, so he can teach you about communicating what you need to from a feminine viewpoint. Like, he can actually help you bring out your voice as a woman, so to speak. And he is also there to teach you, because Mars Sun conjunct in your ninth house is the teacher, and his energy, like I said, his Mars is on your Jupiter. So he really brings out a transformation around understanding and growth, around intelligence, around learning, around expansion spiritually. He can change your mind for religion potentially. And really, what he's doing is he's triggering your own planets and helping you to understand yourself through his eyes, is kind of how it is. And then your Pisces Mercury conjunction opposite all that, it's like there is definitely a balance going on. And my grandparents were a Virgo and Pisces match, so you guys are kind of the same. You have that opposite energy. Really connect on communications and growth through education and understanding and learning. He also has a bunch of Capricorn in your first house, which is going to help you be more grounded, because you have Neptune in Sagittarius in the first with the Sagittarius rising. So he definitely will be that kind of nitpicky person trying to make you walk your talk. And so, I mean, his Jupiter in your house of marriage, so there's transformative energy. He'll nurture you in a partnership situation. Let's see he has a Virgo rising, given the time you gave me, which is close to rising sign. So it was just after he was born. So he's got the Sun-Mars energy in his 12th house of subconscious. So definitely work is a huge, huge thing. And honestly, a little bit of insecurity, because that's what Virgo brings. It's like, I'm not always sure of myself, because the analysis side gets the better of them, like the analysis paralysis. So he can have that. You know, he may have a little bit of insecurity coming into things. Your Sagittarius energy is pretty potent to have sense of confidence. Like, it really helps you with your confidence, as does Uranus. And so yeah, anyway, that's my eyeball of the situation for you. And if you want to know more, I mean, you can always contact me privately or call again. But I have to get to my last call before the show's over. You're welcome. Take care. Bye, Kay.
You too.
Okay, thanks. Okay, 252. Hi, 252. How are you?
Hi, Shelley. This is Carol.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Carol. Have you called the show before?
I have. It's been a while. 2012.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's probably on my old computer, your chart. So you're going to have to give it to me again if you can do that.
Okay. Yeah. November 13th,
okay.
1961.
Okay. And the time?
5:08 a.m.
Okay.
It's Wilson, North Carolina.
Okay. Let's see.
Wilson.
Yeah, it looks like. Oh, is it W-I? Oh, yeah, Wilton or Wilson? Wilson.
W-I.
Okay, I'm sorry. It sounded like you were saying it with a T before the S. I'm like, Wilson, W-I-L-T. It wasn't. That's okay. We're all good. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to get cut off from the people listening probably, but I'm going to give you a quick reading of your chart. What is it you want to look at today?
Our company is merging with another company, and there'll be a merger of equals. I was wondering, probably half of us will lose our jobs. So I just wanted to see if anything is showing up about that.
Actually, you do have some very potent energy on your Saturn, which is your life purpose in your career. Your Saturn is at 24 Capricorn. Currently, Pluto, the planet of major life change, is at 23. So it's literally 1 degree off of your Saturn. What I want to say about it is you are potentially going to change what's going on with your career. Saturn gets really close to Pluto, but then he retrogrades. And so it's like he gets really close and says something's going to happen and then pulls back at the last second. But next January, Saturn and Pluto join each other at exactly 22 degrees. And that's what I'm writing the article about on my website. But Mercury is also like 22 degrees. I believe it's Mercury in Capricorn next January. So that is a huge, huge time of shift for you. And so whatever happens with you in this situation, whether you continue on for a while, you are ultimately going to shift and leave this position because there's something better and bigger for you down the road. Okay? So I don't want you to be afraid of it. I don't want you to worry about it because the shift has to come. According to your chart, you are exactly in alignment with what's happening in January. So your moon in your natal chart is at 23 degrees Capricorn and your Saturn's at 24. And the conjunction next year of Saturn-Pluto joins at 22. So it'll be 22, 23, 24 Capricorn, which is huge. It's almost a bullseye on your Moon-Saturn conjunction. And that means a major change about the structure of how you look at things, your belief system. I want to say it's one of those situations where you basically have to own who you truly are and stop trying to save everyone else and save yourself, so to speak, but not in a sense of you're in peril, but in a sense of now it's time for you to own that you're this amazing person and you need to go and give it to the world, okay? So that it's not about I am such a responsible person. I'm always the one doing everything, and nobody else seems to be doing anything, and I'm always taking up the slack. This is a time of I need to put that energy into me. I need to be the one that I'm taking care of, number one, and primarily. And all the other people, I don't need to save them. They are also going through this transit. They can save themselves. So that's like the clearest way I can tell you how it's going to be. So if your job is changing and you do end up not keeping it, which, again, I mean, there's a potential there, but Saturn does retrograde. Let me just see when Saturn retrogrades for you. Let's see if I can find it here. 1920 retrogrades like the last day of April. So it's about 2 weeks away. That sounds like that's kind of when you're talking about something happening. Is that true? So the last day of April, in what?
In 2 weeks.
When is it?
Well, they've been talking about it, but they haven't made any decisions.
Okay. Well, you've got 2 weeks of the energy moving forward, but I can tell you next week the energy of Saturn, which is career and responsibility and structure, is slowing down to go retrograde. So this week is still marching forward, sounding like it's going to happen. Next week is actually when the energy can pull back before it even hits your Saturn in your chart. And so I would definitely say that there may be a reprieve, but I mean, everything's going retrograde, honestly. Pluto's going retrograde, Saturn's going retrograde, Pluto goes retrograde like a week after Saturn, or no, a week before Saturn. Yeah, like within 6 days, just before Saturn does. So they both are almost in tandem, pulling away. It's like we're heading for this new change, and then both planets that are initiating this change put on the brakes and say, whoa, wait a minute, do we really want to do this? And it's like they're almost at the bottom of the hill where, like, if you picture yourself on a roller coaster, and it's coming downhill, and then it's about to shoot out straight and go, then it like stops the brakes just before it gets to the bottom where the momentum is like, wait a minute, what? And they go back up the hill a little bit, and then they come back down the end of the year, and I'll tell you when that is. So Saturn goes direct, I believe, in September. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it goes direct September 18th. And Pluto stays retrograde a bit longer because his cycle is a little longer, and he goes direct the 3rd day of October. So after that, I'm not kidding you, you've got about 7 weeks before Jupiter goes into Capricorn, which is a fortunate energy, and something could happen then. But right after that in January is when there's a conjunction. So all that energy is much more significant for you as far as shifting your career. Okay?
Okay.
So that's what I have to say about that.
Could there be a potential that I stay with the company but with another position?
Yeah, sure. There's a potential you could do that. And if you do that, I would say it'll happen after the retrograde, so like by May. But I do think that you're really at the end of a cycle with this situation, because next January is when transformation happens. Jupiter goes into Capricorn, Saturn Pluto conjunct on your natal Saturn, and then right after, Saturn goes into Aquarius and hits your natal Jupiter in Aquarius, which is a change. It is autonomy. You want to get away. You want to move somewhere, and you're probably going to end up moving. So I would say this company is there probably, I mean, I can't guarantee you'll stay or go, but I can tell you there's a chance they're going to change their mind over the summer, and at the end of the summer into December, there will be a shift, and then you're probably going to end up moving early next year anyway. And I think that you are at the end times of this particular job, this company. Okay?
Okay.
So I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, my world's, is terrible, because it's not terrible. Everything is in alignment. The reason things shift is because we change our energy and grow, and we no longer match energy with the place we're at. So it isn't like you're a bad person and you're not worthy. It isn't that at all. It's quite the opposite. It's that you're so worthy that where you are doesn't support who you've become. Okay? So I want you to carry that with you.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of positive new shifts that'll come after Mercury and Venus get past Chiron and Vesta, and that'll be in about 2 weeks. There will be some new energy around the workplace, okay? And the sun's there already, but Mercury has to get there for you to understand what it is, okay? So I'll give it 2 more weeks, all right?
Okay. All right. Well, thanks
you, Shelley.
for
the call. You're welcome.
All
Take
right.
care, and bye to
You
everyone.
too.
Thanks. Okay. All right, that's the show for this week. Thank you for those who went into the chat room, and I look forward to talking to you again next week. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.